Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
We wanted to find a spot to talk about some games that we've been playing that we were really excited to talk about that we just didn't think we'd be able to fit in a full review, or maybe it's a super long game that we just don't think we're going to finish, whatever the case may be. But we wanted to find a spot just to be able to talk about those, since normally when we do reviews, we try and make sure we finish the game. I'm going to talk about 4 games. Jeanne d'Arc, Dragon's Dogma 2, Metroid Zero Mission, and Another Crab's Treasure. Let's start with Jeanne d'Arc. This is a game. It's on PS Classic this month. You weirdly have been recommending this game to me for like 10 years. And I just it's on PSP. Like, I have a PSP, but it's like, maybe you can download it. I don't know. I just, no. It pops up on...
Yeah, I got Super Nintendo on Vita. Yeah, because it was a Vita game I really liked.
I popped up on PSN, so I was like, all right, fine. I'll finally give it a shot. I played maybe the first 2 or 3 hours of this game. This game has like the coolest like anime intro of any game I've seen in a long time. It is weird, batshit crazy alternate history, like French, I don't think it was French Revolution, but Joan of Arc, basically that time period. That's way before the French Revolution. Been a while since history class. It's very much this alternate history with magic and all these other things. It was such a cool setting, and I was just really liking seeing where it's going. Those anime scenes pop up over and over again. They're really well done. It was just this really, really interesting concept that I don't feel like you see too much of this alternate history outside of like Wolfenstein.
Yeah. And it's like a fun anime alternate history as opposed to like, I don't know, the Americanized version of alternate history, which is like everybody's really cool. This one is just like everybody's extremely anime. And like you're fighting like, you play as Joan of Arc. That's what I remember. But you're fighting like goblins and stuff as opposed to who I think the English controlled the goblins or something. It's a
like
very
I said, I didn't
strange
make it too
story.
far, but yes, it's very much like the English are bad, and the English did something to make these monsters. The monsters are there because of the English, and we're gonna go get them. Very cool, very straightforward strategy combat. I was enjoying my time with it. I mean, it is the most like just A to B, go get the thing strategy combat. No like crazy over the top gimmicks and everything. Just really solid strategy combat. I honestly just dropped it because it's super long, and I was like, I don't think I have the time to invest in this, but it is super, super cool. PS Plus game, so it's out there to check out.
It's really good if you want to like get started in strategy RPGs, because like I'm not super familiar with that genre, and I remember like the Jeanne d'Arc was like, haha, this is just stupid enough for me, because I tried to play Triangle Strategy, I think that was the one, and there's just like all these different character classes, and like the genre is like 40 or 50 years like into it, so it's like just very complicated now. But like Jeanne d'Arc was just like a really nice like intro to it. Even stuff like Final Fantasy Tactics, this is just like extremely dumbed down, straightforward. If you've just never played this genre, like great way to get into it. And it's very, I love the art style too.
It looks so
it's
cool.
Just like I think there's like I think like 3DS and like PSP, PS2 is like, anytime I see a game that does like really good graphics or like really good art direction, that like I really am drawn to, and this game looks.
And I've played a few of these PSP releases on PS5, and they all really, really look good. Weirdly enough, like they look crazy good with whatever like little upscaling they're doing to them to release on PS5. So it looks incredible. It looks, I mean, kind of on par almost with what you'd expect from kind of more strategy RPGs. I feel like kind of lean towards that pixel art style more, that kind of old school look. So you'd almost, I could very easily see somebody thinking like this is much more modern than it is. So really, really cool game that just I wish wasn't like 50 hours long.
So Dragon Dogma 2.
So you got into Dragon's Dogma 2. I think you're like 3 or 4 hours into this thing.
No, I'm more like 10 or 12 hours into it. Like I got into it. I
free trial.
There's
right?
those sort of like two free trial. Yeah, those 2 hour free trials have actually got me to buy quite a few games. Cyberpunk, I think it was Cyberpunk, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Dragon's Dogma 2. Like those 2 hour trials, I really like, because I just never was going to get Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah.
I had heard things about it. I was like, okay, it sounds kind of cool. I didn't really like the first one because the setting kind of was like super boring. Dragon's Dogma 2 does not improve on that. But it was fun playing the game because it's so unlike any other games. I just finished Elden Ring, the DLC, and wanted to get something kind of similar. But the thing I really liked about this game, it's something that kind of reminded me of like Red Dead Redemption 2, where there's sort of like a heft to everything. I feel like in like Skyrim or pretty much most games in general, you're just kind of like flying through them as like the hero.
Yeah.
But this one, it felt more like just like walking around is kind of like a struggle for these characters. Like if you're climbing stuff, like you'll lose stamina and that kind of thing. Or like, okay, I need to make sure before I go out that I have food. Okay, my food is rotting, so I got to make sure I like, if some of my rotting food, got to turn it into dried food before it completely rots. Okay, I got to make sure I have some campsites before I go out, because the world is like really dangerous and it's like really easy to get your whole team wiped. And they're really weird like checkpoints where it will send you back to like the last time you saved at an inn if you're not careful, which could be like an hour behind. So it's really cool. Like the thing I liked that, like, okay, I need to get to the next town over. I have to prepare to get there. And like, okay, I'm going to be running through supplies. I got to make sure I have enough health potions. Got to make sure I'm having enough doing this, doing that. Like just preparing before I set out. And I really like that. It felt more like it gave the world more, like I was saying, heft, more like grit. It felt like there's just like a weightiness to that world that it makes it feel more real. But counter to that, which I don't like, is like all of your companions they're not really characters. They're these things called like pawns, where they don't really have like motivation. I think they're kind of like just like dumb NPCs that serve your character. There's some interesting story stuff with them, but no pawn is like a single character, because you can pull any infinite number of pawns from this thing. So like you don't really have like a really solid crew going with you. And then because it has that mechanics up, sometimes it feels like it's like too wrapped up the mechanics that kind of forgets the world around it. So it felt like, okay, you have this cool, let's say Red Dead Redemption 2 system of like living in the world, but the world is also like kind of reminding you of like all these mechanics stuff. It's actually just a video game, guys. And that's the thing I was like kind of getting turned off by. It's like, man, I wish it just kind of went like a little bit further into like the role playing of being in a real fantasy world, but like every step of the way it's kind of like, I don't know, it just like it kind of like had like bars and like stats.
Yeah,
and
those
kind of stuff
I feel like
kind of kept turning me
I
away.
feel like those can be a huge turn off in a lot of games where those just become like cumbersome, where it's like you can hide the bar. Like I can count that I need to hit the thing 5 times. I don't need to see the bar going down 20% each time.
Yeah, exactly. And like in the Red Dead is like the game I think is like no bars, like you're living in that world. Like Dragon Dogma 2 could be that, but also it's like a Capcom game, so just like Capcom games just need gaminess to them. And then the world itself is like just not super interesting. The thing is though, it's just like really compelling to play, because you have to kind of keep that in mind, like going from like one spot to the next save, of just like keeping your supplies in order and not pushing yourself too far, and not risking it too much. It's like that really fun.
So
to me.
frustrating.
No, you would hate this game. You would
so
hate
frustrating.
this
I don't
game.
need to
Holy
replay
crap, you would hate this
45 minutes because I forgot to pack something.
Yeah, exactly. But it's fun because it definitely feels like that was I like games where it's like that was totally my fault for like getting involved with that one monster I thought I could do. Yeah, exactly. I might go around to finishing it. It's just like, yeah, honestly, sometimes just keep with the channel. Like I can't do Shadow the Erd Tree, which is like 60 or 80 hours, and then do another 80-hour RPG. Otherwise,
you got to split those up.
Doing
you
a
got to
review
split
once a
those
year.
up.
Yeah. Hence Tomba.
Go play Tomba instead. Anyway, went back to Metroid Zero Mission, which just got added to the Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy Advance collection. These, I just played Fusion. I played like 6 or 7 months ago, and that got added. These are like the games that like in my mind set me down the path of Metroidvanias are incredible. And there's so much nostalgia for me playing Zero Mission, just because it's one of those games that I know I played this thing like 7 times. This was like...
Oh, okay. So did you play all the Game Boy Advance Metroid games then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So these were like my car ride games as a kid. It's like, I'll just play through like Zero Mission.
Sure.
I'm almost done with it, and I think I put like 2.5 hours in at this point. So it's like, it's 2.5 hours. So it's like, we're going on a car ride. All right, I'll just play through Zero Mission again. No worries.
Sure.
The game is just so damn good. Way that you gain upgrades, the way the upgrades function, just all the stuff that you want in a Metroidvania, it's there. It's flawless. It's perfect. It is super quick, so I think that's why the pacing just feels so fun, because it is like a 2.5 hour game. So like you're just in and out of everything. It's like, you got the high jump, boom. You got the morph ball, boom. It's like you do, 8 screens next upgrade, 8 screens next upgrade. So it's such a lightning fast thing that you're just constantly like, ooh, I'm almost there. It has a really cool objective marker too, which Metroidvanias to me are so live and die by their map. What you do with that map determines if I will like your game or not.
That is true. That is a lot of your. That is so funny. Most of your complaints with these things come down to the map or that lack of map or
exactly.
Great map.
Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, great map functions, love it. Animal Well, couldn't figure out the map was bad.
That is terrible.
Was bad. Couldn't do
bad
it.
Map.
There
Bad map for sure. Yeah.
But Zero Mission, so what it does is it just gives you a flashing objective marker like in the blank screen. So you'll have like, oh, I just entered this part of the world. Okay, I've got one bar open, but there's an objective marker to my right. Okay, so I know I need to head right.
Right-ish.
And then it's just go that direction. So it at least points you in a direction, whereas a lot of Metroidvanias will be like, I don't know, go to the next spot. Where's the next spot? I don't know. So just that one little thing. But the game looks incredible. It's just, it is the Fusion and Zero Mission are the two Metroid games that have always resonated with me the most. Dread, I think you can pop in that category too. I liked these better than Metroid Prime, that whole series. Like, these are my Metroid games.
Yeah.
And they're so fun. Again, quick, breezy. It's such a flawless game.
Have you played Super Metroid yet or no?
Yes. I've never actually finished.
Okay, that's enough. That's review over.
No, I don't know why.
I've
tried Super Metroid probably 7 times, and I just cannot get through it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I think I get to like the same point every time, and I don't know if it's just like I don't know where to go next or what, but it's just like, I'll go play Dread. I'll go play Fusion. I'll go play Zero. Like, I think it's one of those series where I started past that point, so going backwards, you can really feel the going backwards.
Yeah,
I know what you're going to do after this, and I liked that, and then you took some of that away, and now I'm back here. I think that's what does it with Super Metroid to me.
Yeah, I know, I can feel it. It's kind of interesting sometimes. Like, the Game Boy Advance games are like a decade after a Super Nintendo game, so it's like which is like they might look similar. Because I've been playing through a lot of the GBA games on Nintendo Switch. Like, these are way better games than a lot of the Super Nintendo ones. Even though they look similar, it's like actually like a decade of game design. Yeah, because
you've got the same amount of power. They're probably comparable power Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, but you've had that 10 years of level design, game design, like story buildup. Like, what games? A game from 1995 and a game from 2000, early 2000s, mid 2000s. Like, those are going to have a lot of just quality of life improvements. We learned what to do with the map in a Metroidvania in those years.
Yeah, so exactly.
Just enough improvement that I can't go back to Super Metroid. I tried. I promise.
Sure.
There's like 4 different save files on my Nintendo Switch online thing. Like, tried it, nope, tried it, nope, tried it, nope. You pull out the Wii U, there's 3 or 4 saves in there.
I also bought Metroid Prime Remaster like the day it came out, and we still haven't done a review on that one. So
this is the type of content that we could talk about that on then.
That is true. I don't have anything nice to say about that, so let's move on to the next game.
I like that all of your move-ons are like, and negative things, so what's next?
Yeah.
There's nothing negative about Metroid Zero Mission. It is a borderline perfect game.
Yeah.
Another Crab's Treasure. I don't like Souls games, but this looked goofy enough that I assumed it was going to be easy. Just because I was like, you can't do, like, look how cute and charming and fun this looks. You can't make me do Dark Souls combat and things in a game that looks like this. Oh boy, did they want to do Dark Souls things in a game that looks like this.
As a Dark Souls fan, because
we both played this. I think I made it like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I think you made it similar-ish.
I put like 5 or 6 hours into it. I got pretty far into it before I kind of like pulled the chute. I actually think we pulled it for different reasons. So like, you go first and I'll go second as the non-Souls fan versus the Souls fan, and how it didn't work for either of us.
I mean, and I think that is the thing, because it's like, I feel like that might be the issue with this, where it's like, the aesthetic is going for me. It's like, how can we get somebody who doesn't like Souls game because of like a lot of the worlds and the things that they're doing and the way that those games are built? How can we get them to like it? And also, we need those Souls players. But for me, it was just, I didn't want this game to be like ungodly difficult, and it was just frustrating me. I just got to the point where I'm like, I'm I'm 2 hours into this. I'm losing constantly. I don't quite know exactly how I'm losing. Like, I feel like I'm doing better than I am, but I'm still losing and I'm still dying and I'm still not just... I felt like after 2 hours, I should have some mastery of it. I should be able to be like developing a skill with it. And I just felt like that wasn't there. I didn't feel like in those 2 hours I got any better at playing the game. And the game was getting harder already. So it was just like, nope, this is my jumping off point. I can't do it.
Yeah, I think the difficulty really doesn't match. Kind of what you're saying. Like, I think the game as is could work. I think even with Souls combat, it would be okay. But I agree with you. It's too difficult. Like, even as a Souls fan, I think it's too difficult. But the reason it was funny, I actually played this like kind of concurrently with like Erdtree. So I was like playing around the same time I was playing Erdtree. The thing is like, and this is actually a problem I had with this company, with Aggro Crab's previous game. I cannot remember what it's called. The combat just like isn't tight enough for the difficulty that it is. I can see that. I think you can have a stupid hard game, like you just play the Prince of Persia game. Like, the combat and the movement have to be perfect for a hard game to work. And actually, I think this really comes down to a very simple thing. Like, when I die in a hard game, I shouldn't be blaming the game. I should be blaming myself. In Souls game, I'm blaming myself 90% of the time. In another Crab's Treasure, there's like so many times it's like, nah, the game just got a little loopy or like a little weird. The physics are like a little weird. Yeah, and like the combat's just like not really tight. It's a little loose. And like, I'm okay with not so loose combat systems, but don't make your game so hard that's like depending on me to do like really precise combat and your thing is just not there. It's actually the same reason I don't like the data battles in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's like, I don't think the combat is there to make those fights as hard as they are. I think you make hard fights. I think you can have a difficult game, but not that difficult. But also didn't really match the story. I thought the story was like fun.
Yeah, the story,
it's
the
fun,
world, everything. Like, it's fun. It was goofy. I was having a great time, and it was just like, I think it's that like emotional like up and down where it's like, ha ha ha, this is great. Yeah. Fuck you, game. Like, and I think that's what it was, where it's just like, I'm so happy. I'm just enjoying myself. I'm like, all right, like, let's just keep. And then it's like some random little enemy beats the shit out of me. And it was like, but no, I was having a good time. I was enjoying. For me, I have the ability to go like, ha ha ha, ha, to anger. And it was just that like joy to anger back and forth that was just really was like starting to just frustrate me.
I think one of the underappreciated things with Souls is like, it's a sad, dreary environment that acknowledges the game is hard. Like, it's like, there are characters who are like who are saying like, this is bullshit and I'm giving up. Like, that's how one of the main characters in Demon Souls is a guy who basically doesn't want to keep playing because it's too hard. And like, the world is dreary and stuff. So like, it matches that. But like, just like what you're saying, like, oh, okay, this is like a fun story, which is like a really cool anti-capitalist story in like a fun way about like a crab who gets like his house repossessed, which is his shell, a hermit crab, which is his shell, and you're trying to like get your shell back, and it's about like people paying taxes and stuff. There's a lot of like, it's a little not raunchy, but it's like I guess it's a little, I'm not sure if raunchy is the right word, but it's like surprisingly R-rated in certain ways and like how they talk about stuff.
It's got just enough tinge of like adult comedy.
Yes, and like instead of saying like "what the shell," they'll be like "what the shuck," or like "shuck off" and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, so we're like kind of like harder PG-13, but it's just fun, like the things, and that's like it's kind of ultimately why I stopped it. It was just like that stuff was so good, and the gameplay was just like it was too hard. And the thing is, they do have ways to make it easier, but the things are like a gun that instantly one-shots everything. It's like, I don't want that. I want like
one or the other. It was either like you're pissed as hell or you're just walking through the game. And because I turned that on. I think I made it like probably an hour and a half, and I think I played like another half hour of like, all right, I'm enjoying this enough that like I can turn. And then it was just like, but now it's just, I'm not having any fun because it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's a weird game where I really, really, really wanted to like love it and talk about how amazing it was and about how incredible that world was. But just, I was just smashing into a wall every time I tried to get to a boss, or every time I tried to get to a challenging part. It was such a huge wall that I just couldn't do it.
And it apes, and like as a Souls fan, it apes Souls stuff like so much that it's just like, oh, you're doing the Souls thing, and it's clearly not as good
that's always
as
rough.
that. Don't remind me of the thing, and then you're doing it just not as good. did do some like really cool stuff with the cutscenes though, that they made them like very Souls-like cutscenes in weird ways that like you would notice if you're a Souls fan. That was like really cool, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. But like as soon as you started playing, you're like, oh yeah, this is not a Souls game. It even had cool, kind of fun, unique mechanics, but like you were saying, just I think we're both saying it's like just this game needs to be like way easier. I think it should be a lot more fun.
I think if you made this like more in the vein of like a stylish action game, I think that would have done it. I think that would have matched the tone better. I think it just. You try and jump on the Souls like trend, and you're just not. You don't have the combat for that. It just doesn't fit what you want to do. But if you make this just a goofy action game, all in.
There's no reason for this to be a Souls game. Is kind of what ultimately came.
I mean, outside,
like there's just no reason.
Outside of like it's kind of aping that and making fun of that a little bit, but just
but it wasn't worth it. Let's just say that it was not worth it.
Anyway, that's some of the other stuff we've been playing outside of our normal reviews. We are Workforce Gaming. You can leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel. There's links to support us on Coffee as well. We'll see you later.
If you really want me to play Dragon's Dogma 2, I might do a review for that in the future, but only if I get comments about it or something. All right, bye.